All right, physician. In order to investigate diseases caused by hormonal imbalances, a certain researcher wants to study, among others, 200 children who P glands fail to produce typical amounts of HGH. Okay, we want to invest. So we're saying like, hey, we want to investigate diseases that hormonal imbalances cause. We're going to do it by studying children. Cool. The study would involve administering a synthetic version of HGH to the children over a 2-year period. But medical research should be permitted only if it is likely to reveal important information about a medical condition and is known to pose only a minimal risk to the subjects. The researchers' proposed study should be prohibited. Okay, so what is our conclusion here?
I said that it was the last sentence. The researchers' proposed study should be prohibited.
Awesome. And so when should research be allowed? Oh, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. When it reveals important information and it poses minimal risk.
So important information and minimal risk. So we need both of these things, right?
Yes.
So if we're trying to say that the study should be prohibited, what's something that we could say that would guarantee that the study should not be allowed?
Either it doesn't reveal important information, or it poses a risk.
Yes, so not minimal risk, aka has a risk. Fabulous. All right, so go. So what kind of question is this?
So when I see the word justify, I think of either like attacking it like a sufficient assumption or like a strengthening question.
Yeah. So we're trying to strengthen this argument that the researcher's study should be prohibited, and we know what we're looking for now. All right, so go ahead and start with A.
Okay, so A says the resources expended on the HGH study could be spent instead on research likely to lead to treatment for medical conditions more serious than disease stemming from hormonal imbalances. I did not pick A, but I didn't have a reason to not pick it, but my gut told me not to pick it.
Yeah, could be spent instead. Do we care? Yeah, there's a lot of things we could spend money on instead, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do this. This is such a mild answer. Yeah, this is, and we know what we're looking for, and this isn't it. So it's not A.
B says about 10,000 children have already been given synthetic HGH without obvious side effects. That does not like justify the researchers a comment saying that the study should be prohibited.
Yeah, that's excellent. What about C?
C says obtaining informed consent from children is impossible because they are not yet mature enough to understand complex medical issues. I feel like it's like B in the sense that it doesn't support why it should be prohibited.
Yeah, this one plays to our emotions where we're like, yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to do something without consent from the children, but that's not what our support says that we're looking for either. And so we can't let our emotions get in the way. So yeah, not C.
D says, although hormonal imbalances can cause disease, the imbalances themselves do not constitute a medical condition. So I ended up picking D because I said I see why it's wrong though, but
okay, why is it
because we're looking for either it reveals important information or it poses minimal risk.
Right.
And in my head, I was just like, oh, well, if it's not a medical condition, then it just, it contradicts everything. In my head, I said that, but I realize why it's wrong now.
And imbalances, just because the imbalances themselves are not a medical condition, that still doesn't mean that the imbalances don't cause a disease that we're trying to study that could potentially reveal important information.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And then why is E correct?
Okay, so E says the long-term effects of synthetic HGH have never been tested and are unknown. It literally is like the opposite diagram of.
We need to know that there's only a minimal risk to the subjects, which we don't know if there is or is not. So we can't do the study.
Yeah,
So that's why it's E.
cool. That makes a lot of sense.